All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Limitless Mindset Podcast. I got a killer guest for you guys today. I'm super excited. This guy is probably known for his marketing. You guys, no doubt, have seen him everywhere. If you haven't, you're living underneath a rock. You can't drive down a freaking freeway without seeing him. Super well known, relatively semi-newer in the industry with some of us, but he's making a massive name for himself and scaled super quick. So today I hope to bring you guys some value. We're going to be kind of going over everything within his business, marketing, and I'm stoked for this. So I got Justin Mercer on here. Thanks for coming, brother. I appreciate it.
Proud to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's just dive right into it, man. Tell us about yourself. Who are you? For those that don't know you, who the hell are you, man?
Oh man, this is the long answer. I'm just a normal dude. Like I don't look like one, but yeah. I try to say like I'm just like everyone else. I just look different. Yeah. But I grew up just working like my ass off. Like a lot of people just they all think I'm a marketer and I do all this. I was like, dude, I drove a truck for 13 years. I drove a semi. Like I know nothing about real estate. I knew nothing about marketing. Knew nothing about branding. Yeah. But I knew me. Yeah. So that
drove a semi truck. I didn't even know that about you. Where'd you drive?
I drove for 13 years.
Like over the road, like long haul?
I all did in town.
Okay.
Did you know I was a teacher?
No, I didn't know that. I think I heard you say something like that before.
I was a teach,er and then in Arizona, teachers don't make shit for money. Yeah. I made $800 every 2 weeks.
That's horrible.
And I couldn't live. And I made double what I made teaching and driving a semi.
Yeah, had the CDL and everything.
Pepsi, I worked for Pepsi for 10 years and then transferred to Frito-Lay, which is owned by Pepsi. Worked there for 3 years.
Did you go to the DC out of Casa Grande, the factory out there?
I used to do runs back and forth, but my office was in Phoenix.
Got it. Yeah. I drove semis for not that long. I did it like a year and a half. I
did 18-wheelers?
Yeah. I had my CDL. It was called McLean Food Corporation. Is who it was. So I did food delivery for Jack in the Box, like Panda Express. We'd have to go at nighttime. Yeah. I freaking hated that job. It was the most sketchy job because they're like, you can't carry a firearm. And I'm like, but we're going to send you to Phoenix. So it was like Indian school. And like
27th Avenue.
Yeah, dude, freaking the Panda Expresses. And it was at like, I would start my route because you had to go in you had to go in the restaurants were closed. Yeah. And so I remember I did that when I was like it was right before I got into real estate, trying to like just kind of get income coming from a different angles. And I started some businesses. So I just did to pay the bills because my wife had just had her youngest daughter and she was coming out of work. So I was like, I got to replace that income. My buddy worked for there and he's like, hey, you make good money doing food delivery. And it was all right, like 50 to 80K a year, And I was like, what is it? He's like, hey, just work at night and deliver food. I'm like, oh, that sounds easy. Go get your CDL. Got it. Yeah. But man, that job was sketchy.
Like you're breaking down all these pallets. Yeah. So I did it during the day. So I was 120-degree weather in the middle of a parking lot, breaking down pallets. Yeah. Like that job ruined me, ruined my life. Like,
mine was at nighttime. And the only people that are out at 2 o'clock in the morning in Central Phoenix, guys, I'll let you guys guess at that. And it was sketchy. Like, you can't carry a firearm. We're like running in and out of the semi truck with like hand carts, doing all the food delivery into the freezers. And I'm like watching my back the whole time. I'm like, and then we had like a run out to like Nogales and Tucson at 2, 3, 4 o'clock. I'm like, I got to get out of here. I'm going to die one day. It's sketchy.
Yeah, I started getting tattooed crazy when I worked for Pepsi.
Okay.
They didn't have a rule against tattoos. Right. But then they're like, dude, you can't be tattooing your neck and head. And I'm like, you put me literally in the worst neighborhoods in Phoenix. Like,
just trying to blend in.
Yeah. I was like, I don't think they mind. Trust me.
Right. That's awesome. All right. So that goes a little bit into the previous jobs. Okay. And then you did a teacher. What grades were you teaching at?
I was PE.
PE
But I've been working with kids since I was 15. So I did before and after school programs. Yeah. I was one of the youngest guys to run a school. Okay. And then I did an intramural sports program. Then I taught math. Okay. So I did a lot of
fun stuff.
Yeah. And then I taught for a Title I school doing PE.
Love it. Okay, cool. So that leads us into it, man. How the hell did real estate happen? And all that super diverse background.
I've always wanted to do it. Okay. I've always watched all the $1 million listings and every real estate show. I literally TiVo'd. I was watching. I'd always say like, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. Yep. And then I bought two houses. I sold 2 houses. Just my personal
residence. Yeah.
And I can see what my agent made. And I'm like, damn, man. Like,
I'm a teacher.
I said this. Well, no, at the time I was driving a truck. Yeah. So I'm like, I just worked my fucking ass off 60 hours this week. And she's tripling what I'm making just off of this one house. So like, so it's just like crazy, and it just made me want to do it even more. But like I could literally like go back, and I remember sitting in trucks at gas stations, and I'd watch guys get out of their Mercedes and suits, and I'm just like, I wish I would have had that life. Like I wish I didn't make the choices I made, like because I just had an addictive personality. I kept getting tattooed. Figuring, hey, I'm making $75,000 a year. That's great, and then you realize it's not so great. Like I thought I had it made. Like but I grew up like no money, so like 70K is a lot for me.
Yeah.
And just watching these people like have their dream jobs, and I just feel like I missed the boat. Mm-hmm. And I was in my second marriage now. First marriage literally got ruined because of my job.
Yeah.
Like I was tired all the time.
The Pepsi job.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like how many hours a week or days did you work?
Dude, it was horrible.
It was a 12-hour, 14-hour
during the day trying to work on my own business and grind, and that was before I got into real estate. But I was doing like marketing and stuff, and then nighttime working, and I had no life, just trying to replace that income so my wife could get out of the workforce and raise our kids, and just be a provider. But so my mindset, somebody had to sacrifice.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with a father, so my mindset was, I'm supposed to provide and protect. Like, that's it. So I wasn't the romantic. I wasn't the love you wife. Wasn't the let me make dinner tonight. Wasn't
just pay the bills.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm providing, I'm protecting. That's my job. And over 4 years, like that shit would take a toll on anyone.
For sure.
And like when she wanted to go to the park or something so simple that you should be doing, my mindset was, no, I'm fucking tired. Why would you ask me that? Like, I'm tired. I just worked a 14-hour day.
Right.
Her mindset was, I just want my husband for an hour.
Dude,
so
it's tough,
I was so immature.
It.
I didn't think like that. And now I'm in my second marriage, and I had left Pepsi, so my back was better. I wasn't in the middle of the parking lot at noon at 120-degree weather.
Yeah.
But now I'm working midnight to 1. It's a lot easier workload, but the hours suck. Yeah. And I had 2 kids that I have to pick up from school, so I would sleep an hour before work, an hour after work, and like that shit will take a toll on you over 2 years. And I was sleeping literally 2 hours a day for 2 years, and ruined another one. Like, she was great to me, great to my kids. We had a perfect relationship, but my mindset was just now completely poisoned for 13 years, and I just wasn't a happy person. Like, I was miserable every single day of the week, even on my day off, because it wasn't a day off because I got to work tomorrow at midnight. So I'm like, all I'm thinking of is I got to be back up at 11 p.m. tonight. So it just ruined it. And then ended up, we split up. I mean, it wasn't a bad divorce. Like, we literally sat on the couch and filled out shit together. Like, we both knew my shit was fucked. Like,
super
I was just,
amicable.
So she went and did her own thing, and I was just like, you know what? I just lost her. I had half time with my kids, but I work at midnight, so I just lost my kids. I lost my wife. I'm losing the house because we got to sell it. So I was in a point where I was like, life cannot get worse for me right now. And I've always had this idea to do real estate, and it was just like, I just want to fucking do it. So
you wanted to lose at that point.
So I was like, whether it works or not, like, I'm not going to get worse than I am right now.
So were you chasing the freedom, you think? Obviously money was part of it.
Freedom was
part of it.
So like I tell people, like, when they ask about marketing dollars, it's like, I don't care. Like, I made 70K. I made 70K miserable. Like, dude, if I make 70K in real estate and I'm happy, like, that's all I care about.
It's funny because so many people, I don't know, like, I don't want to say this business is easy, because it's not. Like, it's just a different world when you're commission based. You're like, then you really feel like you got to grind, because you're like, I don't get a paycheck. I got to work my ass off for it. But with that being said, similar background to you, just didn't really grow up with money. So anything was better than nothing to me. You said, 70K. I think my dad made in his best years like 70 grand. I remember him telling me, he was so proud of that. And I remember looking around, we didn't really even have shit. I was like, he made 70, but we lived in a freaking trailer and he was paying the bills. But I came from like a construction background, same thing, driving trucks like you. And I'm like, this shit is easy. Not easy, but like the workload was easy to me. It's like the hustle that I was putting in there, I think, was way harder on doing the construction side of it. So I got into it, and that's what helped me scale so good. It was like, man, I'm just going to go full bore. This is not that bad compared to digging ditches for friggin' $15 an hour, or driving trucks and making 50, 60K, but it's at nighttime. I have no time with my family. I can relate to that. Like what you're saying when you said, I started laughing because I had flashbacks of like me coming home at 7 o'clock in the morning after running food routes all night and sleeping, and same thing, not seeing my kids, and quality of life. Like, it's like, you're making money, but life sucks in some ways. And people in this business get in and complain about having to make some calls, having to risk a little money. Like, oh, I got to spend how much on marketing? I got to spend how much on leads? It's like, you have no friggin' idea. This is not that bad.
Yeah, it puts you in a mindset where you're like, I can't fail at this. Like, I love what I do so much now, and the workload is so easy, and I get to see my family, I get to see my kids. I'm happy. I smile when I go to work, and I'm not anxiety driven going to work. But I know what this side's like. And I know if I don't do shit here, like, I cannot go back to this life. Like, it scares me more than anything in the world is going back to that life.
Yeah, I agree 100%. What do you enjoy most about real estate now that you're in it? We talked about how you got started in it. What's the one thing that really you love about it?
It's such a hard question, because there's so many different avenues I can go about. Like, I think the easy answer is the money's a lot better, and the freedom's a lot better. But I think that's everyone's. But to me, it's like because I spent 10 years telling myself I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
When I decided to do it, I had all my friends and all my family tell me you can't do it. Like, because they were like, you can't change people's minds. Like, no one's going to fucking spend $200,000, like $300,000 buying a house from you.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like what I built in 2 years. Like people just come up to me in a fucking restaurant and say hi. Like, it's just, that part is the coolest to me because I spent 10 years telling, like, no one told me I couldn't do it. Like, the real estate board didn't say, hey, you cannot look like that.
Right.
Like, it was just me doing it. But I beat myself up for 10 years because I was afraid to just lean into my strengths.
For sure.
And then, like, the family saying, I don't think you, and then now my mom taking her to see my first billboard after she was, like, afraid of me quitting my job to join real estate. Like, that part is better than anything.
Yeah. It's the payoff of it.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy least about it?
The stress.
Yeah.
It's I'm so tired every day, and I get 8 hours a night of sleep. I was so tired getting 2 hours of sleep. I think I'm more tired getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep because that stress just constantly hits on you.
Dig deeper in that on the stress side of it because I get it. I got a lot of stuff going on in my business, and I relate 100% to the stress side of it. But here we are talking about, hey, we get money and freedom and right? All the things we love about it. What's stressful to it to you?
Everything. It's like people think real estate's so easy. Like you said, it's like, oh, everyone gets their license. I can do it because so-and-so did it. Yeah. And then you get into it and you're like, this is the most stressful position I've ever been in my life. You're like, a lot of people, like, I care. Like, I really do care about the transaction. I care about the $250,000 FHA buyer that can't get in.
Yeah.
Like, I feel for them because, like, that woman is a single mom. I was raised by a single mom. She's got 3 kids. Like, my mom. So, like, I put myself in her shoes, I can't get her in a fucking house. Yeah. And it stresses me out. Yeah. Like, I'm trying.
You feel responsible.
I feel responsible for their life. Now running a team, like, if they don't perform, like, they all told me they want to make 6 figures this year. Yeah. So now I have this stress of having 6 people underneath me that want to make 6 figures, and I'm trying to give them all the tools and some of them, like, you got to make sure they have the drive, and because it's like, you told me what you want, I'm giving you the tools, but we still have to. This is a team effort. Yeah. Like, you have to put in the work. Yeah. So there's a new stress every day. No day's ever the same.
Let's talk about that. You mentioned the teams thing. So what was your experience being on teams for? I think you'd been on 1 or 2 teams prior to starting your own. So what made you go the team route, getting into real estate? What was your experience with it? Pros, cons? Like, walk me through some of that.
So I did a lot of research before I started real estate. Mm-hmm. So I knew 80% of the people fail out of the business. Mm-hmm. I knew nothing you learn in school is a part of the transaction. Like, so I did my research of what real estate was. Yeah. And I came to the decision, like, I need my hand held for my first year. Like, I know I'll do all my marketing, I'll do all my branding, but I need you guys to hold my hand for a transaction. Yep. And what is the pipeline? Like, how do I build it? How do I go find the business? Like, what are different avenues to find the business? Yeah. I'll have my own, but I need to know what successful people are doing too. Yeah. And I hate when people come in the business and they think they're going to make $200,000 the first year. Yeah. It's just like, it doesn't come. Like, what other job can you have where you can make $500,000 a year? Like, you're going to be a CEO of a major company. With, like, low startup costs, too. Yeah.
It just takes determination and friggin' drive, but that's it. But, yeah, to go franchise.
Like, I could be the CEO of Apple and make a grip of money, but I'm starting down here, and I'm moving my
20-year plan.
Yeah, so I'm like, why is real estate, why do you think it's any different? Like, you got to start down here, and you got to learn. So my first year, I went to every class I can go to. Mm-hmm. I went to lunch with Russell Shaw. I went to lunch with Greg Hague. I went to lunch with all these huge names in real estate because I didn't want people... Because I do a lot of branding, obviously, but I don't want you to come to me because my face is tattooed and I'm different. Yeah. Like, that's my foot in the door. Yeah. But I want you to come to me because I'm the most knowledgeable. So, like, am I? Like, I would say anyone in this room or works for you or works for someone that's good is more knowledgeable than 90% of the people in the business. Sure. Yeah. Because we take the time to train but I was like, I'm taking my first year and I'm just going to learn the business. So I'm going to learn from everyone in it. I'm going to learn from the best. Like I said in that sandbar thing, I literally looked up all the biggest names in real estate on our social media, went through and see what everyone's doing. Sure. Yep. So I took my time trying to move up the scale. Like, it wasn't like I just came in and tried to make 250 a first year.
What did you find in common with all these guys? I mean, obviously everybody does things different, but you went out, took action, met with a bunch of heavy hitters in the business that do pretty good, all in their own way. Was there anything you identified that was common between all of us?
Yeah, we're all just fucking normal ass people. Like, we all have our, like, unconventional, like, we're not the suit and tie, like, just, like, arrogant, stuck up people that you would assume would be the big names in the business, like those. Because I think real estate has a bad rap for some people.
Yeah, rightfully so too. Some people do have that. But it's funny because the ones that I met that do really well, I think that's why they do well, because they're freaking likable and they get along with people. And I think that people that have been in the business long term, we all know each other. Most of us do, and we all got some level of respect for each other for the most part. And yeah, it's funny. I say the same thing. Like, they're all really dang good people. If you get to know them, everybody sees people on social media, and they make these assumptions about people. And like, no, go sit down and talk to them. They're actually really nice. They'll give you the freaking shirt off their back or give you any help you want. Just go talk to them.
Yeah, so. It's so easy to like. We just, for half hour, you dove in.
Yeah.
You literally broke down all your business and your numbers and how much you're spending, what you're doing. Like, why would you give that to someone who's competition? Like, it's just like,
we all help each
people
other.
Have the mindset where it's just like, we want everyone to win.
Yeah.
So like, I'll tell you everything I'm doing. Like, it's just crazy to see like somebody tear down their business and say, this is exactly what I'm making. Here's what I'm spending. Here's what I'm doing. Yeah. So it's cool to see people that's so selfless.
Everything I freaking know, I learned from somebody else. I mean, some of it's self-taught. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've spent a lot of money, lost a lot of money just learning and putting my own theories into practice. You know what I mean? But I got smart. I'm like, I'm just going to go ask people for help. Why can I, same thing. If I can save people trouble from learning from my failures, that's why you came in. I'm like, hey, anybody pulls up a chair, come sit with me. I'll freaking tell you what I'm working. And if you can drop some knowledge of me, great. Let's all win together.
I went to lunch with Greg, and he broke down all of his marketing plans he's had over the years. He broke down, like, as the 72 sold, exactly how much they make per house at the end of the day after everything's like. I'm like, he's breaking down his entire business for somebody. Like, it's just cool to see someone that has such a big name just be so open with their business.
Yeah, most people don't have nothing to hide. So talk to us. You just started your own team. I remember you'd reached out to me and kind of saw you launch that, and you had some questions for me on it. But so what caused you to start your team? Like, what was the driving force behind that for you?
I didn't want to. Like, I knew. So coming out of my second year, starting 2022, I did 43 units last year. 5 of them were wholesale. Yeah. So I started thinking, I was like, those 5 wholesale deals paid me a lot more than
traditional
10 of the traditionals. Yeah. So I was like, do I want to sell 50 this year? Yeah, but I want to do maybe 25 retail, 25 wholesale. So I want to balance my business. So I was more focused into leaning my business more into the flip wholesale side and balancing the two. And I had a couple girls come up to me, and they were going to leave their team. Yeah. I said, well, don't leave it. They wanted me to start my own team, so they wanted to come with me. I said, I'm not ready yet. Like, I can't, and I don't think I'm ready. So I'm in charge of your business now.
Yeah, that's a lot of
so that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, like you said, that's part of that pressure weighing on you. Yeah.
So it would be reckless for me to tell you, oh, I'll start a team. Like, so I didn't know how to start a team. I didn't know the business behind a whole team. Like, as far as CRM, like getting everything started that you need as a tools for an agent. Yep. So I told them no. Then I went to family reunion in Florida, and there was 12,000 agents there. Like, my stuff has got shared like on Broke Agent and real estate masterminds, that kind of stuff. So a lot of agents did know me there, and I talked to maybe 300, 400 people, and they all were like, oh, we want you to start an expansion team at our company and at our brokerage. I was like, I don't even have a team. Like, so I can't do that. And like, a couple of them invited me to their brokerage to speak, and they wanted me to bring my team. I was like, I don't have a team. It's just me. But I came back and I was like, that'd be so cool to just expand everywhere. And I do see a long play. Like, I don't want to be in retail 5 more years. So I need to have something going. So I came back and talked to those same 2, and I was like, hey, I will start a team, but maybe I'll do it like in December, because I need to make sure it's the right move for you guys and me. Sure. And they're like, too late, like, we're going to leave unless you start it.
Which, that says something, man, because I'll tell you what, I get a lot of people that ask me questions about joining teams, and they do it just because they want to do it, or they do it as a means of like, oh, I just don't want to work anymore. I'm going to have people do my heavy lifting for me. And you said, well, I don't want to do it until I know I can help these people. Like, it ain't about me. It's about, I need to make sure that they're going to be successful. And I don't know if I have the confidence 100%. I know how, what you're doing, but do you have what it takes to help other people? So I think that says something for you, and that they're in good hands with that, because a lot of teams that I know, the ones I know that are like the most successful with the long-term longevity and have the most respect, are the ones that just pour into their people and they take it responsible, and the ones that have the quick turn and burn, that you only know the team leader, they don't give any recognition to those on their team and stuff. I just see them completely different. So I think you hit the nail on the head with that one, and you did it for the right reason. Yeah,
but plus, like, a lot of my stuff that works for me doesn't work for a lot of people.
Sure.
Like, what I do works for me. Yeah. But I can't teach you how to do it, because it's not going to work for you. Yeah. So, like, I told them where my vision of retail was going. Like, I feel unless you're a big team, unless you have a great lead system, unless you have a portfolio or a book of business, like, you're going to get washed out. Like, I think everyone's going to get washed out. Like, if you did 30 last year, you're going to do 25 this year. Yeah. So I think like 72 sold. They went from spending $400K a month to $2 million a month. They went from closing 200 a month to closing over 1,000 a month. And I said, and there's nothing stopping another millionaire with a system to come in. There's nothing stopping him for pouring more money in. You got open door offer pad Zillow. There's nothing stopping another billionaire from parking more money and buying up. So I was like, I think you're going to get washed out. So if I'm going to do a team, I told him, if I have to do it right now, because I don't want you to leave. Like you already told me you're leaving.
Yeah, you're kind of in a pinch.
So I was like, I don't want you to, but here's what I'm going to offer. Tell me what you want first, because you're coming from a team that's training's a lot. Like I can't train every single day. Like I can't train every week because I have my own business. I have kids. I have all that. I said, so what do you want? Here's what I'll provide. Then you guys can make the choice. And they all decided to do it. I'm trying to teach them to balance retail in a wholesale business.
Love it.
So
which is, I think that's harder. I'm doing that myself right now because mine's always been traditionally retail. I did that and I did great with that. But I kind of said the same thing as you. I was like, I was exposed to market risk. I think being just a traditional agent, it worked real well. But what happens when the market shifts, and I've talked to enough people that have been in this for a long time, and I remember them saying like, "Oh, these were my heyday years when the market was here, and then it was really low." I'm like, "Well, I don't want that to be me." And so my mindset on that was, well, then why don't I just become versatile? There's a winner in every market, right? Whether it's a buyer, seller, investor, whatever. How can I be in a position to know enough to win in any market? And that's where I was like, I think the off market, wholesale, fix, flip, and stuff like that. And so I was like, all right, I got to dive in. And it's like starting as a brand new agent again. I was just, you and I were just talking about that. I was like, I got this system dialed in because I've been doing it for so many years. I'm like a freaking brand new agent. I'm just learning and fumbling my way through it. And I'm seeing some success, but just keep on working on it.
Plus, when they crack their 2 first wholesale deals, they're like, what? Like, this is what the payday looks like on that? And then they forget, hey, you still need to build your pipeline. Like,
Absolutely.
You've been focusing so much on this side, but this side's going to suffer because what happens to a lot of new agents is they get 2 in escrow and they get paid on 1 and they take a break.
Foot off the gas.
Yeah, they foot off the gas. So like, oh yeah, that took 30 days to close. That 30 days it took to close, you weren't lead genning for 30 days. So now you're just fucked for the next 90 days.
Yeah, it's such a long-term play. Usually you see what an agent, if they're crying about their business being low, like, well, what'd you do 2-3 months ago? Because what you did 2 or 3 months ago, that's where you're at right now. And a lot of people think like it's such a short-term play. I'm like, you have like the dials, the work, the emails, the follow-up, the meetings you guys are doing today, it's going to show its head in 2 or 3 months. And a lot of people have a hard time. Like they're not seeing that instant like right now. And yeah, we see it called the commission roller coaster with a lot of new agents. Just like you said, they grind those first 3 months. They're excited, energy's high, they're killing it. They get some deals in escrow, and then they throttle off because they're like just trying to juggle. They cut off the marketing. Number one, do not cut off your marketing. No matter, I don't care how busy or how slow you are. Marketing. Don't let off the gas on that. So,
I was afraid I wouldn't be able to train as much, but I think we train more than any team now.
Yeah,
like we're doing weekly stuff. I got them with Temp. I got them with Rodolfo, Miguel. Like brought some of the top people, the top closers, the top callers. Where we have Ryan coming in next week. Like, so I'm like, I think you guys have no idea like the access you guys have.
Yeah, fast tracked. So much more than even you had or I had starting out. Yeah.
So it's cool to see now because Temp came. You know how he is. He's such a motivator. Yeah. He came and spoke to them 2 weeks ago for 3 hours. He took 3 hours a day, which is hard.
Which is a lot for him.
Yeah. And he just dove into every single one of the
That cut into his sauna time.
Yeah. But you saw it the next week. Like we put 5 in escrow, just like they were so dialed in and ready. So it's cool to see it working now.
He's the one that planted the seed in my head. He told me like 2 years ago because I remember he's the one that helped me start my team. I was just like you. I didn't really want to start a team and had a couple of agents come to me like, no, we're gonna do it and you're gonna teach. I was like, crap. All right, kind of like got my arm twisted into it and sat down with him. And at that time, he had a team. I don't think he was big. He was like 30, 40 people at that time on his team. And he helped me launch mine. And then like 8 months later, he like scaled it way down. He's like, yeah, I don't really have T group anymore. And I'm like, what, dude? You just helped me start my team. He's like, no, dude, I'm doing the off market investing. This is what you need to do. I was like, no way, dude. I'm killing it on market. And I just started having these talks with him. And then I started getting in the investing a little heavier. And I saw him like 4 weeks ago. I think he came here to my office actually. He's like, remember this talk I had with you like 2 years ago? If you would have just started when I told you, I'm like, I know. And he's pretty right with that. Yeah. He's right on a lot of things. I hate to admit it, but yeah, he's a little far off with his like work-life balance. He's like killing it on that side. He's doing it. But I like look at him and I'm like, man, I don't know how this guy's just floating around in his pool at like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Well, that's what he told. He took 5 years of like grinding, being obsessed with real estate.
Yeah.
I think that's the point I'm at right now. So I do feel bad the time I'm taking away from my kids, because I speak to my kids like they're adults. Yeah. I said, you have no idea the shit I went through that I'm going to make sure you never have to go through. Yeah. So I told them, I was like, you're not going to see me for the next 5 years. Yeah. I told them that 2 years ago. Yeah. I said, I'm going to be grinding. I'm going to be working. I'm going to miss your event. I'm going to miss this, but I promise you it'll be worth it. Yeah. Because I'm not just trying to change your guys' lives. Like, I want my whole family tree changed.
Absolutely.
Like, my family tree never has that one person. Like, I want to be that one person. Like, oh shit, that's my grandpa. That's my uncle.
Absolutely.
So I want to be that in my family tree. So
I love that. That's friggin' money for sure. What's a long-term vision for your team? Like, if you had to fast forward 5 years from now, paint the picture. What does it look like?
The ones that were there for me day one, like this core group I have right now, they're going to be running the team.
Love it.
Like, they're the team. I always said I want to be the brand and the name, but I want them to be the face of the team. Yep. So like that billboard I put up with them, that was like my first crack at showing them and say, hey, I just want to be in the background. Like, I want to build a brand so big, a recognizable brand, because I think I'm going after not just like, I don't think I'll ever be the top selling agent in Arizona. Like, it's impossible to be. Like, you see all these huge names.
Super creative people that come out of the works, man. Even since I've been in, there's dudes that have been coming. Well, great example. Like, I've only been doing this like 7 years, but just there's one thing you learn, man. Don't ever think you're better than everybody, because there will be somebody that comes that's creative and smart as heck.
In real estate, there's 20 people that are better than
100%. Yeah. So you might as well just get on board with like learning from the guys, and you try to elevate your game than ever just being too humble to not go talk to them, or too arrogant. I mean, to go have those conversations, because there are some smart freaking people in this bit. I learned stuff so much from some of these younger people. I'm like, holy crap, why didn't I think of that? It's freaking genius.
Yeah. Like, when I first started real estate, like I was like a week out of school. Yeah. I asked all the agents on the team. I asked all my friends, like, who's the most famous agent and everyone said Russell Shaw,
OG,
or they said Shannon. I didn't know Shannon Gillette at the time, but they said Shannon Gillette because she just had that TV show. But like, those were the top two names that everyone said: Shannon Gillette and Russell Shaw. And then you come in the business and you see the Kenny Klauses and
behind the scene guys.
Those guys that you've never ever heard of.
Yeah, they're not in the limelight, but they're doing things.
They're
doing
just
things.
Killing it. I'm just like, oh shit. So I was like, I don't think I can ever. I'm not the farmer. I'm not the caller. I'm not that guy. Like, I don't think my role in real estate would fit with these huge names, but I could be a Russell Shaw, like I could be a Shannon Gillette. So I was like, so I'm gonna go more for the name. So I'm trying to, everything I do marketing wise is it's like, I don't care if I sell the most, like I just want to be the most known. So because I think that in itself is its own lead gen.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, no, you are your own brand. Everybody's got to brand themselves, and that's a differentiator. The rules are the same. There's no special side in real estate. You work hard, but we're all kind of held to the same rules, regulations, things like that, but it's your freaking brand and who you are that's differentiates.
Well, I got shit when I started the team. Everyone was like, why would you make it called Tattooed? They're not tattooed. I'm like, that's not the point. Like, called Tattoo it's
They're
me.
Associated
like,
with you and it's you.
I'm called, like, call Raffy is Raffy. Like, so it's like, I'm Tattooed, but if I'm already spending so much money on, if I already have 10 digital freeway billboards and all these videos that had tattoo, like, why would I change it?
All of a sudden, expensive it is to rechange all that.
So I'm like, I'd rather just lean into my name and just add real estate group, and I'll be the face of it and the brand, but they're the, or I'll be the name of it, but they're the face of it.
Well, and I think there's something to be said about that, because that's who you are, and the client that comes to you comes for that reason. And I think if you try to get away from that or rebrand a team away from who you are, they're not going to get the same experience that they expect in some ways, if that makes sense. So I think you're doing it the right way.
When you were solo, you were Blake Clark. And now you did the Blake Clark team. Jason Mitchell. So I'm like, they're the same way. Like, they're their name, and their team is the fucking face behind the name.
Got it. 100%. What's been the biggest struggle with your team so far? I know we touched base on a couple things, but what's that thing that's kind of keeping you up right now? Like,
getting started. I have like a short attention span. Like, I'm very, very impatient. I woke up, I had to talk. Like, we didn't have team standards at the time, because I just started. We're trying to get the CRM dialed in.
You guys are a group of friends hanging out doing some deals.
Two of the girls on my team are on different brokerages, but they're just doing the investment side with me.
Got it.
So I had to bounce out with my own broker and tell him what I was doing. So there's a lot of bouncing, and I woke up because I just felt like no one was doing what I thought we would be doing in the first month. So I woke up at 4 a.m, and it was just pissing me off, because I'm like, that night I was driving home from Phoenix, and I saw 15 72 sold signs on the way home. And I woke up at 4 and I'm like, dude, I'm never going to be able to compete with these people. Like, I don't have the money to compete with them. And I was just like, what I need to do. So I was just like, I've been having this fucking talk with the team. Like, we need to lean into social media. Like, we'll never, ever beat these guys marketing wise. But every single one of the people that would use us is on social media every single day. said, so all of us need to lean heavy into social media, and we're going to be the biggest team on social media because there's 8 of us. Like I built this by myself in 2 years. Now I have 8 of us trying to build this with me. So I was going after that play, and I didn't think like we're partnered with Templeton. Like we have access to how many flips, how many luxury flips, how many of the best flippers in the game. Like, why are we not at all these flips every day, providing content and blasting on social media? And I was just so frustrated. This like, I want to do this. This is my business as a team. And I called, and my ex called me in the morning. She always calls me every morning. And I just went off, not at her. Like, I just mind spit everything out.
Just doing the frustration.
I was like, you guys tell me you want to make this. And like, I'm so frustrated because I need you guys to make this. And I don't know how to get you there. And I'm just like spitting off, and she knows how I work. So she called my director of operations as soon as she got the phone with me. She's like, Justin's flipping out. Like, we need to get something. And they know I'm not organized like whatsoever. So like that day, my director of sales, who's good at everything I'm bad at, like came up with team standards, and we had a one-on-one meeting. And now we do, like, we didn't have one-on-one meetings. Like, it's such a simple concept, but now
corporate world does it.
So it's just like, it's just getting started. Like, cause I don't know how to run a team.
It's a learning curve, man. It takes shit. I relate to that 100%. Like my first team meetings we were doing in my living room. I didn't even have an office. And then our old broker, we had it in the office, and we finally got our own office here. And dude, structure, to simplify it, to even drop you any piece of advice, you got to make them treat it like a job. That's all I can tell you. Like a lot of people in real estate get into it for the freedom, and they go home and they wake up and they, whatever the hell they do, and they go for a hike in the morning, come back, and they work on their business like 1 or 2 hours a day. And at the end of the day, it comes down to, are they putting in the same amount of work that you are? Because it's going to be hard for them to see the results that you are if there's no structure and systems. And I found that about this business. It's you look at everyone that just dominates it, and they have systems, they have routines, and they treat it like a job. I mean, it is. I mean, you got freedom, but they're working on their business 8, 9, 10 hours a day. You look at any one of these top performers, and they're at their office working or out showing homes or doing, they're never out just hanging out doing nothing, at least from what I've seen, my experience. So
I work 80 hours a week.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't feel like
that's what I'm saying.
Like, I don't have a job, but I do treat it like a job.
You put in the work on it.
So I told them, I said, I told them, like, do you love real estate? Like, if you love what you're doing, treat it like a job, because it's not going to feel like it.
For sure. So
if you truly, if you can tell me right now you love what you do, then this is not a job to you. So what we need to do now is treat it like a job, because it's not going to feel like that 8 to 5. But we're still going to do the 8 to 5 work. It's just not going to feel like it. But like, it came in fruition. Like, we had a team meeting, and one of the girls was like, Justin, why do you think you're not doing enough? Like, we fucking love you. You're doing this, and you're providing so much. So it was like, I'm just in my own head, like beating myself up, because I feel like I'm not performing, and they're like, we've never even had that thought.
That never dial it back. That'll never go away, by the way. Just get used to that, because I still struggle with it. What really?
It's cool because you care. It's like, I care about you guys. Like, I have my own relationship with each one of you, and you told me what you want to do.
The hard part too is when they like personally struggle, like something's going on in life, or they're stressed out about money and stuff. The way I made a podcast about that a while back, and like when they struggle, you take it personal, man. That's what makes you a good team leader, though. You know what I mean? You got those team leaders like, whatever, I don't care, that come go, revolving door. And then you got the ones that are like, get the people in your office crying sometimes, stressed out, and dude, it weighs on you, man. And you're carrying the stress of that. I get that, but that's, they're going to be successful if you got a leader that's helping you and cares about you like that. So, if you had 10 times the budget you have right now, what would you spend it on?
Marketing. All of it.
Love it.
That's all I care about. Like, I just want to get. I want to become that name, just because, like, I know I'm never, ever going to be the guy who's going to sit and call for 5 hours and door knock. So I need to do whatever I can to get the phone to ring. And that's one of the reasons Temp said he went into business with me, is because I have a way of getting the phone to ring. So I think
he's the same way, though. He ain't a cold caller or anything like that. He's a networking guy.
But he always told me, he's like, that's your superpowers. Like, fuck everything else. Like, don't. And I was taught that I thought I had to have so many lead gen levers, and I'm supposed to keep up and bounce them all. But meanwhile, all my business is coming from these 2. But I don't have these 3. So I'm like, how do I bounce this with this? And I'm like, why am I wasting my time over here? Because if I pour more money into what's already working, like, that's just going to.
Absolutely.
So he's just like, he always told me, he's like, lean into your superpower. Like, you know how to get the phone to ring. He's like, just constantly think every day, like, what can you be doing to get the phone to ring?
Absolutely.
So if I had 10 times the budget, I would take a vacation for once. Like, I need that. And then I come right back and dial it in, and the marketing poured in.
What do you feel is your biggest advantage in your space right now?
I think, like, honestly, my look. Like, I came in with the mindset that it was going to be a disadvantage. And it turned out to be an advantage, I think.
I agree.
I had a lunch. We used to do a podcast with the Tattooed Lawyer. He's now the
Byron.
Lawyer. Yeah. So he was like, why don't you do some marketing like billboards? I was like, oh, that's too much money. But I started thinking,
it's a very lawyer thing to say, by the way.
Well, he has a lot better margins.
I know.
But he was like, I know how much he spends a year in marketing and what he's spending. But if he would have walked in a restaurant in downtown Gilbert, you wouldn't automatically say, oh, that's him.
Right.
Like if you spent $1 million a month on marketing and you are on every billboard and all this, like if you were walking through the mall, everyone's not going to automatically think, oh, that's him.
For sure. Yeah.
Like it just kind of blends. But with my look, I thought,
you got enough of a differentiator. Many people
with face tattoos, especially like the chin strap. So I was like, and it happened, dude. I got that first billboard and everyone's like, what's the return ROI on that?
I guess what I went on in Higley in the 202.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was right by my kid's school.
I was like, as long as I get one deal, it pays for itself.
Yep.
And that's all I care about. Like, that's not a good ROI. I was like, how?
Right.
Like, if it pays for itself and now I'm in front of
more people,
thousands of people.
That's a long ROI. That's a short sort of that people would say that to you is like, oh, it's not a good ROI. Well, yeah, maybe not now, but what is the long-term compounding effect of somebody 5 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year down the road when they are ready calling you because of that one billboard that was up for a couple months or something like that people saw?
So I have the 2 static and 10 freeway.
Yep.
And I ran those commercials. Was that a good ROI? To be honest with you, no, it was not at all. And you don't get the business you think you're going to get from 10 freeway digital billboards.
Right.
Luckily, I get a heavy discount on them.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking more of a long-term play.
Yep.
So my ex and I, we were out to dinner once, and through the span of an hour dinner, 5 people came up to our table and like introduced themselves. Hey, I see all you around. I've seen you on this. I've seen you on that.
Yeah.
And she's like, I remember her saying at the end of dinner, she's like, it's crazy what you've done in 2 years. And I responded back like, no, it's crazy that I'm a real estate agent. Like, I'm not a Suns player. I'm not on the Diamondbacks. I'm not a 10 newscaster. Like, I'm a fucking real estate agent.
It's not a sexy job.
It's not at all.
Right.
And like, if you're in it, it's very sexy because you know what you can do.
Sure.
But outside looking in, like, it's not a sexy job to have.
It's not something I think a kid in their 6th grade classes saying, I want to be this when I grow up.
The ALA next door, like I started making kids shirts because they were coming over trying to meet me because my billboard's outside of the school and they see my car.
Yep.
So I have all these kids coming up and I'm taking pictures with them outside. Like I'm just like, I'm going to lean into that heavy. So yeah, the ROI sucks, but it's like people are coming up to me out of nowhere. Like
it's a long-term play for sure. Love it. What are you currently struggling with right now in your business or general? Like, what's your biggest struggle you're facing?
My mindset.
Yeah.
I have $100 million visions and I have a $100,000 mindset.
Yeah.
Like
it's not happening
that's
fast
something
enough
I'm
for
very,
you.
very bad at. I have horrible systems and I have a horrible mindset. And that mindset's because I spent 13 years poisoning my mind. That I'm not good enough, that I'm stuck here, that this is all I'm good for.
Yep.
So my mindset is absolutely trash.
Yeah.
And I'm in business with some of the people who have the best mindsets in the business, like Tim.
Yep.
And he even said it. I remember talking to Miguel, and he was like, "Dude, like we don't have people like you around us. Like if you have that pessimistic half, like you're not in our circle
for sure." Yeah.
And I was like, "I know, dude. I gotta." So he got me not listening, not reading to my first book. I've never read a book before, and Tim's like helped me change my mindset. And it's just like my ex, who's very much still a part of my life. She's very mindset focused. Like her mindset's impeccable. Like she knows her worth. She knows her value. She knows how to look into other people, and so does Temp. So I got 2 like the strongest people, at least with me, helping me on that side. But that's by far my biggest downfall.
Yeah, it's crazy the box people put themselves in. I think it's just because we're conditioned that way. Like, to be honest with you, I agree that because like I think for me the biggest struggle was when I was growing up. I just didn't like you grew up poor, and I didn't have anybody like that around me. Like I didn't have anybody that made good money around me. Didn't have anybody that could just be like, yeah, here's how you do it, and here's how you pave the way. And you spend so long in the trenches that you just get like,
how are you positive when you're like
100
stamps,
dude, for real. Well, yeah, and you just struggle, man. You just don't you just get frustrated with freaking life. And I think so many people underestimate the power of having somebody around them that just says you can freaking do it. Like, you don't understand. It's not. I almost get more frustrated now because for me, I was the same way as you. Like, it was just once you break through that barrier, kind of like how you're starting to get a taste of that, and like I did, and you're like, wait a minute, this shit is possible. And then you start meeting the people that are just dominating. You're like, wait a minute, you're a totally normal dude, like freaking Tamp and these other guys that we know that are good people. Like, you're like, dude, there ain't shit to this guy. Like, not a bad way, but like not anything special about them other than they're freaking optimistic, they're driven, and they truly believe. And then so for me, that was the biggest thing too, is like, well, shit, all I gotta do is try it and it works. And worst case, it doesn't work and you move, but then you almost slowly start stepping outside of this little box that you're playing in. Then you have like this blue ocean to go into. But hanging around people like that was the game changer for me too, was just being friends with those people. Just like how you came into my office and we sit down, you just have conversations like, oh man, teach me something or do something different. Those conversations open up the box so much that, and what's crazy is in this business, I don't know what the hell it is about real estate. It's one of the most competitive businesses where people hate to see other people do good. And I don't know why.
Absolutely.
I have no idea why. Like, I love to see other people win. I love to see, my team when they come in and freaking dominate and win. And I don't care if other people get recognition. You guys seen most people that work here with me. If they're killing it, I share their stuff on my stuff all the time because I think that's what it's all about. Is you got to encourage these people that are putting in the freaking work. And I don't know, it's the craziest thing though. Like a lot of people in this business, they don't do that. They don't like to see others win. And I'm like, if you guys just sat down with each other and had a conversation and helped each other, win-win scenario all the way around. We're all in the business together. But yeah, I'm glad that you are seeing that with him because that's one thing I'll say Temp's really good at is just like,
well, I'm like
the power of like you have anything you're telling yourself, throw that out the window. You have the option to do whatever the hell you want. You just got to put your mind to it, and it's true. It's so freaking true.
Well, I had that. I'm very alpha male personality. Yeah. And like, if you tell me to do something, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do the opposite. Right. Like, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna say, oh, I'll show you I can. Yeah. But like, I remember Temp called me, and I was just having a bad day. I was frustrated. He told me to go in my office. He's like, I'm gonna get weird on you. He's like, but just go in just take 30 deep breaths, like just start walking around your mind. And it's like, picture doors and open the doors and just what's behind it. Just like, and this is such a thing. I'm like rolling my eyes, like, am I really? But he's just one of those people that he could tell me to run in traffic, I'm gonna do it. Like he's that inspiring to me. So it's like,
you just have to trust him.
If anyone's gonna get me to change my mindset, like that's gonna be the guy. Yeah. Because I like think every day. Like I was so frustrated when we first started a business because our first 10 days we made $140,000, and then the next month it started slowing down. So I'm just like, I can't disappoint this dude. And I'm more stressed out because I'm like, I just got in business with one of the biggest guys to do it, and I feel like I'm disappointing him. And it's just my mind, like it's just my mindset, and it's like so it's slowly getting better because he's like, dude, what the fuck? Like we're rocking. I'm gonna be rocking with you for a year. Like it doesn't matter. Like he's like, you can have this slow streak for a year and I'm still gonna love you. Like it's just hearing stuff like that from somebody like such a big name and just kind of dials me back in.
Hopefully you agents are listening up to get in the business. Make sure you guys are getting around the right people because that's a game changer, man. Just be around the friggin' right people that have a good positive outlook and they're optimistic because this business is hard. It's gonna get you down. Like there's some months, like you said, I even have those months for myself. I'm like, God dang, one thing after another, getting kicked in the friggin' pants, and you're like, all right, I'm waiting for things to turn around here and go a little smoother. But even on those days when I have those, I pick up the phone and I know who to call to like, same thing with you. I'm like, God, I'm freaking having a really bad like week and frustrated or I'm stuck on this. But I have like those lifelines of people that can call me. And I always hope that I'm that lifeline for people too, where people are like, man, I'm feeling down. Like, hey, call me. Like, don't call me to talk about really dumb, but if you need help, like call me. I'm happy. Like you said, I'm happy to help anybody I freaking can. Cause I just know how freaking important that is to have some people like that around you on those off days.
Well, it's kind of the subject of that sandbar event. So it was, the more you give in real estate, the more you get. Like if you're willing to give yourself and give your time and give your just care to somebody like that, it'll come back to you because you just changed this dude's life. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
What is something that you think everyone in our industry should stop and or start doing? That's like a two-part question. What do you think everybody's doing that they should probably stop doing and something that people should be doing more of?
Comparing.
Yeah.
Everyone compares. I compared my whole first year. I kept comparing. I look up everyone's numbers. Like this fucking stupid Home Snap. I haven't been on Home Snap at all this year, and for my first 2 years, I was because I'm like, why are they doing more than me? Like I'm spending so much money. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Like why are they beating me?
Yeah.
And it just get me in the mindset. Like I stopped killing all my joy. Like I'm like I'm in my second year. I'm making more money.
I got freaking 2-3 deals this month, which is killer for you.
Yeah.
You're like, dang, this guy's got 6 or 7. Oh, I'm not doing enough. Yeah.
So I constantly compared myself to everybody, and it just eats away at you, and you stop enjoying real estate.
Yeah.
Like this year, I'm like enjoying it so much more because I don't think I've ever looked up anyone's numbers this year.
Yeah.
Because all I'm focused is like my numbers are going to be skewed because I'm focusing on this part of your business.
Yep.
So you're not going to
get it doesn't even matter anymore. Especially that's the funny thing because I used to go for all the awards and trophies. Yeah, I got a whole office full of them in there hanging on the wall. But then it's like, especially like the off-market stuff, nobody sees how much you do because you're doing an assignment or wholesale or whatever. It's not even going through the MLS or anything like that and going through title, and you just on paper it looks like you're not doing that much. And like, no, I'm killing it, like financially. And then you have to have that talk with yourself. And I think everybody has to go through it. Everybody, like when you get in the business, you want that recognition, you want the awards. I know I loved it. That was a big part of it for me. And then like as I've done it, I'm like, wait a minute, okay, I've been doing this for 5 years. How many freaking awards is it going to take? How many pats on the back do I need? Or what am I really in this for? And it's like longevity, long-term wealth, helping other people. And those awards come in different forms than a trophy on the wall, you know? So just go through phases.
Well, everyone's business is different too. It's like now I'm comparing myself that is not to somebody who's not doing the marketing like I'm doing.
Right.
They're not going after the name.
KPIs are different.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm comparing you always, and I told the girls this, I'm like, you're gonna be comparing yourself to people who get leads given to them every single day. 100%. Like 72 sold. Why are you comparing it? It's like they come in and they get 7 listing leads a day.
Yep.
So I'm like,
but you're making fatter spreads on your deals and stuff like that. So you could do 1 to 2 deals and make net more than they are. On it's just different.
Like I was working in a warehouse for 13 years, and I'm comparing myself to somebody whose mom and grandpa owned brokerages for years, and they were in the business and they
handed it over the book of business.
Yeah, so I'm just like, so I stopped comparing, and that's I think comparison that saying comparison is the thief of all joy is very, very true. And the more you compare to yourself, the less you're gonna do in business because you're always worried about somebody else.
For sure, mine was the opposite of yours. It was funny you mentioned that you were looking up like HomeSnap. I didn't even look at any. I didn't even know how to do that stuff when I first. I don't even know if the HomeSnap app was out when I got into the business. I remember my gauge was like social media. So you'd see these agents like, oh, I'm out at a new build doing this. Look at me getting these deals. And I was so friggin' frustrated because I remember I came out of real estate school and I had a group of people that were like newer with me. And I'm like, God dang, they're freaking killing it. I was so frustrated. I was like mad at myself. I was like, God, what the hell am I doing? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like in my first year, I think I did okay. I think I did like, I don't know, when was that? 2015. I did like 6 million in sales.
That's phenomenal.
I didn't know. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, I made good money, but I didn't know. Like, but there were people on social media that I'm like, oh, they're doing way more than me. And I remember going to my broker's house at the time, and I was like, oh, this freaking person, man, she started with me, and she's just knocking it out of the park with all these deals. He's like, who? And I told him the name. He's like, I don't know who that is. He's like, let's look her up. And he goes on the MLS, and he's like, no, she ain't. She's doing like 3 deals. I'm like, what? I was so freaking pissed off. I was like, it's freaking fakers. They're on social media saying they're doing all these, and they're not doing nearly as many deals as they are. And I remember at that moment, I went through my social media and I unfollowed like damn near if they weren't adding value, like, and by value, I mean, if they weren't on social media, like just giving tips, like, hey, here's how I do this, here's how I'm working. If they were just on there like, oh, I'm doing a deal, but they weren't actually offering like advice, I unfollowed them. Like, they were friends with me, but I didn't see them. I was like, I got to shut out the noise. I only got to focus on myself, and my business exploded after that. Same thing, but with the comparison, I was doing what you were doing, different avenue. Yeah. But I wasn't actually seeing their true numbers apparently.
So I credit some of my first successes with perception because I got my license. I had it for 3 months, but I still had a full-time job. Yeah. And I remember Matt met me out, and he just got so pissed off because I had this leverage because I was on the news, and everyone was like following me, and I haven't sold any fucking houses, dude. Right? Like, I still have a full time job. Yep. I'm working 60 hours a week. Like, I can't go show houses. Yeah. And I'm teaching everyone to follow their dreams. Yeah. And in the meantime, I have a safety net. Yeah. So like, I'm
got your job people on there.
Yeah. So I'm like, I need to lean into this more. And he was just like, he got pissed. He's like, got all these people like supporting you, and you're fucking. Poor me, I got to do this stuff. He's like, just quit your job and lean into it. Yeah. And so I did. I
think I remember you making a post about that. I feel like I remember you seeing something about you made a post like I'm all in or something like that.
Oh, yeah. So I quit my job. I had 2 in escrow when I quit. Yeah. The day after my 2-week notice, both of those fell out. And then COVID hit. So I leaned into perception hardcore because I had the attention now, but I didn't have the business. I didn't have a pipeline. I just lost 2 deals. So I was like, I'm trying to focus more on, I want them to, I know I'm going to be successful because I know I'm learning. Like I'm 3-4 months in, and I know more than agents that are a year and a half in because I have these people behind me. So I was doing that open house at the $3.2 million mansion. I got in a suit and sat in the hot tub, and I was like, invited them. I thought I pretended like it was a Tinder video. I was like,
that's when you were drinking wine in the hot tub, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I was like, women, or do you love men with rich houses, or do you love rich men with beautiful houses? Swipe right. And she was like, no, Justin, it's not your Tinder videos for your open house. I'm like, oh shit. So I did the whole video like that. And everyone was asking me, how did I get a $3.2 million listing? Yeah. And my answer wasn't, my answer was, bring me a buyer. Right. Because I can represent a buyer. Like, I don't need to go into why this isn't my listing. Yeah. All the agents know it's not my listing, but no perception wise, the general public doesn't.
People following you, yeah.
So that open house was massive. Like so many people were in and out. The next week I did 800,000. The next week I did 700,000. And then I was like writing contracts. Perception wise, I'm at an $800,000 house. That's my listing. I'm writing a contract.
Yep.
So I was like, people are going to be, and people were like, dude, you're killing it now. You're busy. And I was like, yeah, I'm busy. Yep. Like I am busy.
Yeah,
like,
busy as hell grinding.
So I leaned into perception heavy because I wanted the general public to know I wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
So I know it will drive some people crazy, but to me, I leaned into it. Yeah. And it wasn't to lie.
No, it's just there's no right or wrong answer to that, because to me, on the opposite side of that, like you said, I look up agents that are legitimately doing like the volume they're doing now, and I'm like, shit, I need to go get with that person. They freaking know something I don't know. What are their systems, processes, and stuff like that? But I always just laugh on like the social media thing for me, because it's just two different sides of the coin, right? Like for you, you're like, I was getting unmotivated by the dude. Not necessarily unmotivated, but you're getting frustrated by looking at actual stats and numbers for some of us that were just further down the road than you. Yeah. And mine was the opposite. I'm comparing myself to people that started me on social media. I'm like, they're doing way better than me. And they just weren't on the perception. I was beating myself up. Yeah. So we're just doing it in two completely different ways.
So I was like, what do I do to catch up to these people? Yeah. And some of the people I'm looking up, like, you're not going to catch up to. And you get your own. Like, I judged you. I thought you were born in the business.
No.
Like, I saw, first thing I saw was 80 and 80, or 93, 93 when I looked you up.
Yep.
93 listings, 93 buyers. Like, what the fuck? This guy's killing it. Yeah. I assumed that you were born into real estate.
Nope.
But it's like, it's funny because you judge people and you're like, man, I'm comparing myself to somebody.
My family had friggin' 2 houses foreclosed.
I didn't find that out until later on. So it made me, it's like, oh shit. Like, I had no idea.
I was so terrified. Still am to this day. So freaking terrified. People I hang out with, the resources I have now, my friends, like, I've leveraged and put in so much friggin' work, which is good, but I still have that friggin' fear of failing. I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it'll ever go away.
It me every day.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm mad about it. Like some people say like, oh, it's not good. You're fine. You don't need to have that pressure, but I don't know. It's just what it is, you know? But like, when I got into the business, I just grinded so friggin' hard to be successful. And it's funny because you bring up like Russell Shaw. I think I told you that story a while back, but like when I first got in the business, I had a lot of buyers. I just didn't have listings. I didn't know how to get listings. I didn't really, you know, everybody's like, go chase buyers. So I was a little bit younger. I was like 27, 28 when I got into the business, I think. Yeah, maybe 29 almost when I got into it. And I was showing homes, and I remember it was all the way on the west side. There was this guy I knew that was like looking at homes, and it was like an hour. I'm in Queen Creek, so that was like an hour and 20-minute drive for me every weekend. I did it 4 weekends in a row. So I spent like 7-8 hours in the car back and forth. And then he was like, oh, we ended up going into new build and signing. I'm like, what the hell, dude? I was so frustrated. Yeah. I was like, I'm so freaking done. I felt like I was done with the business. I was like, I'm so done with this. This is like BS. Commission based, and I just didn't get paid. And I remember the timing had to have been right. Freaking Russell Shaw. Like I watched one of his YouTube videos, and he's like, I'm a listing agent. I don't deal with buyers. I do a listing. I'm like, and then he made perfect sense of it too, because he was like, you can handle 4 or 5 listings at a time. How hard is it to handle 4 or 5 buyers right now? And I'm just listening to him. I'm like, this guy's freaking right. Now, if you guys notice my marketing, if anybody follows me, I committed to. I was like, for 4 months, I'm not helping a buyer. I'm done. Like and my wife's like, you're gonna lose money. I was like, I don't care. I'm so freaking done. I was so committed to being a listing agent. I was like, this is what I have to do. And every piece of my marketing was just about listings, home values. Here's what they are. Here's what you can do to sell. Here's how you sell to buy. Like everything changed for me from that perspective. I still help buyers that were like personal friends, family, or if I was selling their house and they needed a place to go. But I stopped marketing. I didn't market to interest rates. I didn't market to first-time home buyer programs. I stopped. And dude, I'm telling you, now primarily I do mainly listings. Yeah. And the second half of that is when you chase the listing side of the business. If they have to sell their house, they need to go buy a house. So I was getting double transactions from every friggin' thing. And that was my thing. I was like, I'm going to organically get buyers from selling houses, but if I'm marketing, I want to be a listing agent. I want 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 listings out there at a time. And dude, that was a game changer for my business. Just that one Russell Shaw like YouTube video planted that seed in my head, and it changed my business forever. So, so we talked a little bit about your self-development. What do you do in that right now? Like other than just starting to read books from temp?
just going back to the roots. So when I started, like I was happy. Yeah. I was happy because I wasn't doing what I hated anymore. Mm-hmm. So when I think about it, like, yeah, I'm stressed about this, I'm stressed about that, but I'm like, I got a house, I got a kids, like, I'm doing. I sit in the car sometimes. Like we have a Circle K that's right behind our brokerage, and I see the beer trucks there, I see the Pepsi truck there. Yeah, reminders. And I'm sitting there, dude. I feel so guilty. Like I'm like, I know what this dude's fucking day is right now. Yeah. Like I'm fucking happy as can be. Yep. I'm gonna go in my office. Like I go in the office. I don't need to go in the office. I do it because I like to.
Yeah, socialize.
Yeah, so I just like I feel super guilty. So I'm trying to get back in the mindset. It's like, dude, you're fucking happy. Like you're doing what you love for a living. You don't work, and like I'm not out showing buyers anymore. Like I was a year ago. Yeah. And now it's just like I have other people that can do that for me now.
Got a team.
Yeah. So it's like it helps out a lot more that I can now spend time. And I feel like so I have a 1-year-old and it wasn't planned to have a 1-year-old, but it happened. But I think it was like God's way of like giving me a redo because I have 2 older kids that are 10 and 8. And I didn't spend the time I should have with them. Yeah. Like I wasn't on the floor rolling the ball with them, and I wasn't holding their hands and teaching them how to walk because I was working my fucking ass off and I was tired. Yeah. I didn't get to enjoy any of their childhood. So now I think like this 1-year-old is like my redo.
Yeah, chance.
So I'm trying to pull myself back in. Like, dude, this is your chance to fucking be the dad you always said you were gonna be.
Absolutely.
That you weren't. So I was like, now I'm trying to get back into that mindset.
How's it going? Good?
Yeah.
A lot better this time around?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I was giving them a bath in the sink the other day. I was like, damn, I don't remember giving any of my kids a bath in the sink.
Yeah, I carry that same guilt with my older 2. I'm still, even with my youngest, she's 8 now, and I still missed a lot. Cause right when I got in the business, she was just being born. I remember that. I still got to experience way more than her than I did with my older 2, though, and I have that same feeling. I'm like, God, man, I missed so much in their first 5-10 years. Yeah. It was rough.
I mean, I'm a better parent with the older ones anyway. Yeah. Like, that's my specialty.
How old are your older ones?
10 and 8.
Dude, yeah, wait till they get teenagers.
Oh, I can't wait. Like, I'm excited for my kid to be 16.
My friggin' 14-year-old daughter, she was my sweetheart. She was like my first kid, so easy. And then like 2 years ago, puberty hit, and it's been downhill ever since then.
She's a daddy's girl right
now.
The
mood swings, dude. The friggin', dude, she had like an all-out, she lost a hair tie when we were taking her to school like a few weeks back, and dude, the world was like burning down. Like, I'll go to Target and buy you another one. It's not a big, she's like, it's not that hair tie. And, oh, dude, it's crazy. They change like teenagers. I'm getting payback from my parents for sure right now.
And I was a bad kid, so I know.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah. Who are some mentors in the real estate space that you think others should know about? I know we mentioned a few, but if you were talking to newer agents, like, hey, you need to go out, talk to these people. These people are going to teach you. Who would you say top 5, 6 people that you've learned the most from that you think they need to connect with right now?
Greg was probably the best lunch I ever had.
Love it.
And it's just something
which a lot of people don't like that guy.
He gets so much.
He gets a lot of hate. Yeah.
And it's just like, I think he's great for our business. Like, he was bringing us listings when there was no fucking listings. Mm-hmm. Like, well, imagine what the industry could have been like when we were at 3,000 listings. Mm-hmm. What if 72 sold wasn't a thing? Like, we could have had 1,000 listings maybe.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what it could have been.
But drumming them up.
Yeah, I do think he's great for the business, and he's a good mindset, and he's the type of guy, like, if you work for him and you sit there and talk shit about another agent, he will fire you. Like, he does not allow that shit because he knows people have those false pretenses about him. Yeah. So he's like, I'm not allowing you guys to talk shit about this agent.
That's awesome.
And he'll fire him, and he's done it a couple of times. Mm-hmm. So I just think it was great having Russell, but it was more just, I learned the most from the agents that were just around me that were killing it, that didn't like have a problem with you coming in.
Yeah.
Like today, that was valuable for me.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just like, there's so many people that are willing to pour in your business, and all you got to do is ask them.
Just be around the right people.
You're going to know the not right people.
For sure.
Yeah. Like, I think Brian North, too. Yep. I'd never really met him on a personal level before.
Good dude.
But I always looked at his branding.
Yeah.
So I stocked all of his branding because to me, it was like a Tiffany's, like a luxury type Tiffany's feel. Like when you walk in a store, when the girls get the blue box.
Yep.
Like, that was Brian North. Like, he was the blue box.
Absolutely.
Like, so I really enjoyed like something.
He's that guy, and he's taught me a ton too. Shout out to Brian. He knows that. He's actually a dude that helped me start my brokerage. When I went to him, I remember when I started, I was like, what do I want this to look like? And it's not that I wanted it to look like his. Like, there's some things that are similar, but to your point, like, he's the blue box Tiffany's, which, folks, that's not me. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm not in that market. I'm probably a little more laid back. I don't like to dress up. You guys see flat bill hat, but I've always been a culture guy. And I've always been I'm a numbers and performance guy too. It's my background. Like, when I got into sales, even before in real estate, I worked in call centers. So I'm just a data guy. Like, I look at results, I look at numbers. I'm a mass volume. So when it comes to like internet lead generation, I love that. So he helped me paint the picture of, he's like, here's what we do from like a culture. Cause they're not cheap. Like their brokerage is pretty expensive. And I was like, but I don't want to be the cheapest guy. I don't want cheap people. I don't want cheap quality. And I want to be able to have the ability to pour into my agents. And so he'll paint that picture for me. He's like, honestly, like there's a lot of things you do that I wish I would have done. And that was cool to hear him say that for me. He's like, you're great at friggin' the numbers and the lead gen. And that he goes, that's something that I'm not that great at, you know? And so, and then just meeting with other people and other brokerage owners and just taking little pieces from everybody and putting it together and molding it the way you want. Yeah. So I'm glad you said that, because I think a lot of agents don't do that. It's like, just go meet, go network, talk to other people.
Obviously, shout out Matt and Jeremy, because they were with me from the beginning. Jeremy helped me a lot on my own getting over myself, because I'd ask him, should I post this? Like,
self-doubt.
Yeah, and he was the one that told me, dude.
He's a dude on Instagram playing guitar songs.
Well, I didn't want agents to judge me. He's like, it's like, I post this, I don't want agents to back talk me or to. He's like, what the fuck do you care?
Right.
I was like, what do you mean? He's like, they're never going to buy a house from you. They're never going to sell a house from you. Like, stop worrying about that. And it was just like, he helped me get over my fear of being out there. Because I have the ideas, but I didn't like being out there as much. Yeah. And he helped me in the beginning process. Before he led Impact, he was a team member with me on a Valorum. Yeah. So he helped me like get over myself to get out there. When I started getting out there, that's when I started getting receiving all the deals,
blowing it up.
And then Matt was the one that got me to quit my job and
put your feet to the fire,
believe in me. Like he was the one at school. Like whenever I told him I couldn't do it, like he was like, dude, I want this kid. Like I want this dude. And like everyone else is telling me I couldn't do it. Yeah. So it was like those two helped me a lot too.
Matt's a good dude for sure. Talked to him at the gym quite a bit. He's always got some good nuggets to drop.
And the last one would probably be Temp. Like if you're, I don't know. He's just different. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
You know, the hard thing about him, man, is he's helped me a ton. He's hard to get a hold of, which is tough. Right, and I understand both sides of the coin. I truly feel like Temp would just, if he stopped real estate today and just said like, hey, I'm going to be a life coach on balance, right? Because I think we all struggle, like you talked about in this business, and just I'm going to be a life coach. He would dominate that space because he's made such a massive transformation. I remember when I first met him, he was in the grind mode, and he hated it so much. And then I remember he would shut his social media off. Before he even did that, he was on Instagram one day. He's like, I'm selling all my shit. I'm going to keep 10 pairs of clothes. He did that like a couple weeks or a couple years back. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Like, why would you do that? And he's like, cause I'm just tired of being owned by things or, something of that nature. And I'm like, this guy's crazy. What the hell's wrong with him, dude? And then shut his team down and then was focusing on the off market stuff and then shut his whole Instagram down. He's like, I'm deleting it. I'm done. He goes through these phases in life where he doesn't like to be owned by things, like, which I completely appreciate. And he's taught me a ton of, like, I even had that realization myself going into this year. It was like, I'm done like riding the wagon wheel of just constant every year having to grind. There's got to be better ways of work-life balance to where still make a great living, but still enjoy life. Yeah. And I lean into him for that, but he's hard to get a hold of. So it's tough I feel bad for newer people that don't know him on that personal level, because good luck getting him one-on-one.
Have you heard him talk about work-life balance?
Yeah, that's quite a bit. But
like the way he thinks about it is something like that. It's achievable if you think about it like he thinks about it. So he has work over here. He has life over here. Yep. Here's the balance. He's like, you're never, ever going to be.
No,
like
it never is a clean line.
Never. He's like, but I don't mind being all the way over here. Right. Then they go all the way over here. Yeah. Then they go all the way over here. Like, he's like, I'm not opposed to, but when I'm on that vacation, I'm on vacation. Yep. I don't have my phone out. Do not call me. Yeah. Because I'm all the way over here. Yep. Like, I'm not going to bounce it when I'm on vacation and I'm still working. Like, so I love his just concept about it, because
that's where
everyone thinks it has to be here. No. Like, it doesn't have to be. Like, it could be
both, all in. Like, you're basically all in on each one. Yeah, the struggle for me on that was the system side of it, and that's where because I did a really good job, probably similar to you, building a brand, building a name around myself, and I always had that fear if I pull out or I go take that 2-week vacation, business stops if I'm not there. And so that's for me this last probably 2 years, I would say now. I've been working really hard on putting systems and leveraging people so that I have the ability to get out of my business, because that's what stopped me. I did such a great job of building my brand up, but not bringing enough people or leveraging enough people that were good at good things to where the business runs without me. Yeah. It's with me. And that's the thing, if I stop getting on social media and stop marketing, the business stops. And then as great as that sounds, is it great? Because then it's like, if I want to pull out and take, like, my wife's like, what if we want to take a freaking month off and go to whatever? I'm like, what happens? I'm like, I don't know. I just recently hired a business coach last week too, and that was the first question he asked me. He was like, if you go in your business and tomorrow you step off a curb and get hit by a bus, what happens to your business? I was like, shit. He's like, who runs it? What happens? I'm like, I don't know. That's a great question, and don't think about that. And he's like, what happens to all the people under you that rely on you and rely on a paycheck to you if you're gone?
Are we stuck?
And I was like, that Dude, that right there, that question, I remember I just stopped and we were on a Zoom call and I was like, shit, man, you're right. Like, what does happen? Because that's the whole reason I do this, is to help people be successful. And I just started doing that going into this week. That's the whole thing. I hired somebody to help me build out systems and processes and leverages where, I build the business, but it's not me anymore. Like it's systems. I just kind of sit at the top and help run it, which I think Tim's done a great job of too. So
I kind of met with my director of operations a week ago. I got so much business off the videos I used to do.
Yeah.
And none of my videos were ever real estate related.
Yeah.
All it was is it's funny
yeah.
and it's, I'm in real estate, but it has nothing to do with the market or this or that.
Right.
And I was like, those got me so much business and so many views and like hundreds of shares. Like, and I stopped doing them because I got so busy and everything else. So I told her, I was like, I have 7 or 8 video ideas. Let's write them down.
Yep.
And I got like the drug deal one I did.
That was hilarious.
Like that was one of them. And I was just like, and I got so much good feedback. I'm like, shit, and I stopped for 2 weeks. I'm like, so I got to get
that
in.
one was funny as hell.
And Temp has this thing is like standards. Like what time do your kids get out of school?
Mine are out. I pick them up every day at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Are you ever going to show up at 4:30?
No, never.
Like why?
Because I don't want to leave my kids hanging.
Exactly. Like you have standards. Like these are my kids. I'm not leaving them without a father.
Right.
So he's like, what if you had those same standards in your business? Like, do you brush your teeth every night and morning?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I don't want to have smell ass.
Exactly. Like you have certain standards where these are non-negotiable. I will brush my teeth every morning and night.
Yeah.
I will pick up my kids every day when they're out of school at 3:30.
Yep.
It's such a simple concept. Like, why don't you have those same standards in your business?
It's true.
So like I'm trying to
non-negotiables.
Have those non-negotiables in my business where I'm showing up to the office for 6 hours a day and 2 of them are going to be strictly lead gen. And then so I'm trying to, like, those standards, I will make 1 video a week because that's got me business.
Yeah.
And I will not have any other standards around not coming out with 1 a week. So we just met like 2 weeks ago. So something I'm trying to do is, and it's such a simple concept that
we get away from it, man.
Yeah.
We get away from the stuff that used to work really well for us. We just freaking get away from it because you just get, I don't know, man. I get it. It's hard. It's a struggle for a lot of people.
Bad day, good day, stressful day, happy day.
Yeah.
Going on vacation next week. I've never been late picking up my kids.
No,
ever.
not me either.
So why can't I do the same shit in my business?
Yeah.
Like have that same standard.
It's because they're a priority for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes, and honestly, he's right.
Yeah.
It makes a ton of sense when you think about it that way. If you held those same standards of like your business and stuff, you could probably get way more done in a way less amount of time too.
Yeah.
If you were more efficient like that.
So I like how we talk to the girls. So from 9 to 11, you guys are hunting. Like these are non-negotiable hours. I will not be doing my nails. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to set up a showing.
Right.
It's like from 9 to 11, Monday through Friday, I'm hunting.
Yep.
And then everything else you do through that day is setting your traps, like Instagram posts and Facebook posts and happy birthdays and all that. Those are traps you set like throughout the day. But 9 to 11, you're hunting. So how are you hunting?
Yep.
I just love like that, just the visual he provides us.
Yeah. He's got a way of simplifying it.
Yeah.
Dude's come a long way even from the time I've known him, which is amazing. I love that.
Have you had him on the podcast?
Not yet. I need to. Yeah, I didn't. For the longest time, it was just me talking, giving some value and stuff. But again, this is kind of part of me going into this year, just trying to bring others up with me too, and just give different feedback, different perspectives. Like we just hired a sales trainer for our brokerage, because I'm good at sales, like just like you're good at sales, like we're good at our own certain things. Problem with that is that my culture, it will only ever be as good as me. And that's a lot of pressure for me. It's like, okay, cool, I want to get out there and do sales and stuff, but what if there's better ways more than which there 100% is, So I've focused this year bringing value into our brokerage of really leveraging other people. So that's one thing that I'm doing is trying to bring other people like on the podcast, get other people out here that can just offer different perspectives. Like your marketing style is very different than mine, obviously. Both two successful people, Temp's different. The biggest thing I want to paint the picture for newer agents, and not even in the real estate business, financial or anything, is just there's so many different ways to be successful if you go all in on it. Don't try to copy everybody. Take little nuggets, I think, take a little bit from everybody that works for you, put it in your business, put it to pieces. It's been good.
I believe in.
I'm going to get them on here. Yeah.
Rip off and make better.
Yeah. It's going to be hard for people to rip you off. You better be freaking committed to
I've had people say,
tats.
they're like out of state and all of this stuff. Like, oh, do you mind if I call myself the Tattooed Realtor? I'm like, I don't give a.
Yeah.
I was like, no, not at all. Like you can literally take anything I do and revamp it to yourself. Like I don't care because I want to see you successful.
For sure.
So it's funny. I'm like, by the way, you can't, and I have to actually change my name, so I changed all that.
Yeah,
like I can't.
Oh, because of the realtor logo thing. Yeah.
As soon as I got posted on Real Estate Masterminds, it had like 700 comments.
Yeah.
And someone posted the billboard with the wrapped car, And they posted it on that, and the first thing I thought was, shit.
Yeah.
And the next day, the same NAR lawyers I've been talking to forever hit me up.
Bunch of haters.
Yeah. Well, I got a AZDRE complaint yesterday or 2 days ago.
Again?
Yeah,
For
about
what?
the new billboard.
Really?
Yeah, the broker got like 20 complaints, and now there's a formal ADRE complaint from an agent. The agent's name's on there. I'm like, why do you care? Like, my broker's not on the billboard. I'm like, it's a personal investment.
I was going to say it's the investment one.
So
right?
I think the only thing they can get me for is the website leads to a home search website that's attached to it.
Technically real estate related, yeah.
Yeah, and 2 of the girls that are on the billboard aren't technically with Keller Williams, so I can't put a Keller Williams logo on there anyway.
We got, we had that with one of the billboards I ran with my former team on there, and that's kind of why I got away from it, to be honest with you, because I was getting
You got in trouble for that one?
Yeah.
For what?
Well, I'm not going to name any names. I'm just going to say a certain broker out here that's a hater that didn't like me.
Reported you?
Yeah, because there was somebody on there that wasn't with my brokerage just yet at the time. We were in the middle of transitioning, and we had just put that up when I launched my own brokerage, and we strategically had left a couple agents back at the previous one to wrap up some deals basically that were wrapping up. And when we got the new picture done with the billboard, they were on there. And said broker reported me for the same thing because they were like, "Oh, you're not that person's with me. They're not with you, and it has your broker's name on there." I'm like, damn well in 2 weeks that person's gonna be transferred over here. But
the person that complained about me they were with a boutique brokerage, and she's like young, and I think her mom is on Armless or something.
Yeah,
I'm just like, what do you care? Like, why do you look at my stuff and try to I got approved? I'm not gonna spend money on a billboard and not get it approved by my broker.
Right.
So now that, like, 2 of the girls, they are with me on the investment side, but they're not. They're coming over anyway, so it'll be fine.
Yeah, bunch of haters out there.
I'm just like, why do you care so much? Like, what out of your days is like, you know what? I don't agree with that.
You'll get it. It goes right back to the point you and I were talking about in this business is there's a lot of people who just freaking hate, man. They don't like to see other people do well, which I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know. I think it's fun. It's a fun business. To me, it's one of the only businesses you can get in and truly be yourself for the most part. That's going to really show how much value you bring because you're commission based, and the direct public is going to react to how good you are. That's what it is, right? You're at the end of the day, your numbers show. That's what it is. You're either really good at what you do or you're not, and let the public, let your business sort itself out. The ones that aren't good in this business fade out. Just like the one thing I really love about this market we're coming into. See, I was in the business when I think same time you probably got in, but 2015, dude, houses sat on the market 30, 60, 90 days, totally normal. You had to be skilled. You had to have those conversations. You had to be able to have those conversations with sellers. Like, hey, it's priced high, it's priced low. It really took some analytical thought. Unfortunately, in the last 2 years, any Joe Blow can toss a house on the market and it's going to sell. It doesn't matter. And I get excited when markets shift because, to my opinion, like the ones that are good at what they do, they're going to win. They're going to survive. They're going to shift. Or you're going to see a lot of people that were dominating in that market, but that's all they knew how to do. They weren't versatile. And when the market levitates the other way, they're not going to know how to really grow, continue to grow and scale. They're going to probably shut down for the most part.
Are you worried about the shift at all?
Not even close.
I'm not even either.
Not even friggin' close. I'm actually more excited. Here's the thing that people don't understand. This isn't, for those of you guys that are listening that are a normal homeowner, this isn't going to relate to you at all. But from a real estate business, I did more transactions in a normal stabilized market than, like, if you look at my total transaction count for 2019 and 2020, by all means, I killed it. I did good. This year, I'm trying to pull myself out of the business and scale down because now that I own the brokerage, I'm overseeing. I got 40 agents, and my business coaches are like, dude, it's no longer about you. Your agents do not care how many houses you sell. Yeah. They care how many houses they sell, and you need to now transfer all of your knowledge and skills.
But you're already the name, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and I still get a lot of business. Like, my wife's been running a lot of our stuff now because she's our designated broker. So for me, it's the off-market stuff I'm focusing on because it's more important to generate wealth for my agents. I had a realization like 3 years ago. I was doing good, killing it. 2020 was my best year in the business. I think I did 78 or 90 transactions on my own, not including the team. Dude, I damn near killed myself. I was like, this sucks. Like, quality of life sucks. And that was just with me and like a TC doing my own deals. I didn't have my team really helping me. My team as a whole, we did like 190 something transactions that year, but me alone was like 78. And I was like, this ain't going to be the rest of my life because there's going to be two things that happen. I'm going to have to accept making less money because there's no way I can manage doing this every year with no kids or with no quality of life, or it's going to get smarter with leveraging my time. So that's where it clicked, was like 2020. going into 2021, I was like, all right, I want to do something different. I want to scale vertically. Because I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to be 70 years old here, friggin' selling houses. I don't really have an investment portfolio. I got a 401k, but what is that departure going to look like when I'm 70, 80? I'm used to making this much money per year.
Yeah.
And then I want to retire. I really have nothing. And it got me thinking. I was like, this isn't going to be me for the next, I love selling house. I love being in sales. I love seeing other people win more. So yeah, like for me, it was going into this year was just I got to pull myself out of the business and focus more on coaching, development, scaling, helping all my agents grow my business. Like they're like, you're no longer a realtor, you're no longer just a team lead. You are a brokerage, full service brokerage owner. You got a lot of moving parts, and so my business coaches have been heavy on. Tempa's even one of them. He's not my business coach, but he told me 2 years ago, he's like, dude, scale back, like put your time where it's more needed. Yeah. And so that's what it's going to be for me now moving forward, is spending a lot of time doing that now. So
that's good.
Generating other revenues of income and kind of going vertically, and instead of just focusing on just sales, because I don't that ain't me for the next 20 years. I'm not going to be on the wagon wheel. So
yeah. Well, I had that flip I just did. I don't know if you saw it. It was just like a lipstick flip. I had that wholesale for $40,000. Like I could have made $40K doing nothing. Yep. And I just started a team. Like none of these girls have ever flipped a house before. Yeah. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna pay you guys each $1,000. Yep. You can need to find the carpet guys. You need to find. Here's what we're gonna do with the house. Here's what this is gonna take.
Involved a minute.
Here's what happens. So like we're going there. Like I made a nice video out of it, but I'm like, we're gonna go tear up the fucking carpet. Like all the stuff that you should be doing if you're doing a flip by yourself, the stuff that you can save money on and do yourself. Yep. We're gonna do. But I'm gonna teach you how to flip this house. Yep. So I'm gonna make less money flipping a house, but it's just like I truly want to show you guys how to do it, because the first time you get a deal, your thought, like, because I'm going to teach you how to balance your business in retail and wholesale. Yeah. But your first wholesale you get, like the direct to seller, you're going there. Yep. Your first thought is you. Yep. Like, do you want to burn this house? Do you want to own a rental? Yeah. Like, if that is not your alley right now, then you bring it to the team. Yep. And then I'll do it. Yep. And then. Like, so I'm just like, but
which is so funny because nobody taught us that.
Yeah,
nobody taught me. My old broker, dude. No. Here's how you buy a rental. Here's how you invest. Here's how when you walk in, can you wholesale? None of that. Just
I'll teach you how to sign a contract. Yeah. I know I'll assign it for more.
You're a freaking weapon when you know that, though. Yeah. You can walk in and there's no reason that people are now. They would have no reason not to work with you unless they just didn't like you. That was my whole thing. Is like, okay, when I really started wearing that investor cap was like a couple of years ago. That's when I started buying my rentals, because I'm like, man, there's people selling the offer pad and open door. I can do the same thing. I got cash investors I work with and represent that'll buy your friggin' house at a discount if it's a convenience thing. And nobody teaches you. Same thing with real estate school. Nobody's having that conversation. The word wholesale was never brought up in real estate school or any of that kind of stuff, So
I told the girls, I said, if you want to burr it, I know I'm not going to make any money off of it. Yeah. Like, that deal was brought to you. Yep. Like, figure out if you can monetize it first. Yeah. If you don't know how to, I'm your team lead. I'm your friend. Yeah. Like, I'm going to help you do it. I'll get you with the money people.
Absolutely.
I was like, but then, like, if you're not in that position, then you bring it to me. But if you're not going into every house thinking, how do you make yourself wealthy? Like, you don't have the correct mindset right now.
You got it. Absolutely. Yeah, that's where it's at.
It just goes back to, like, the more you give, the more you get. So, like, I don't care. I didn't make as much on this. I'm not going to make as much on this flip as if I wholesaled it. No. But I think.
But you're changing lives.
Yeah, and then when they go out and they're meeting with clients and meeting with investors, like, oh, I flip house. Here's how you do it. Like, here's the first steps you need to do. So it's like they're gonna get more value because they kind of were in the process. So.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, man, dude, that's all I got question wise. It was a good chat. So
how long was that going?
I don't know. Shit, about an hour. It's been a minute. Hopefully it brought some value, guys, though. I mean, this is the whole point. I love this is for those of you guys listening today, if you guys are a new agent, you guys take this stuff to heart, because this is the stuff that, like, nobody taught me getting in the business. This is all learned. Nobody taught Justin, as you heard. Luckily we have figured out how just to be around the right people, and there's other avenues, there's other opportunities, and keep your eyes open. But mainly, biggest takeaway I think I'd probably get out of this is just find the people that can teach you to be better.
That's so many of the top people wasted many, many years in the business without learning it. Yeah. Now they're the best at it. They went
nothing 10, more about those agents. You see, like, oh, I've been an agent for 30 years. Like, I think Steve Valentine had that story. He had told me, he's like, dude, my dad was an agent for 30 friggin' years or whatnot. And because I asked him his why.
He did on 1,000 transactions.
Yeah. And he's like, my dad died with like nothing. He's like, he made so many other people wealthy, and all that stuck with me 100%. When he was on my podcast and talked to me about that. And that was his why. And I'm like, yeah, you're freaking right, man. Like, and that was the realization for me like 2 years ago is when I exit this business, when that time comes, what's it going to look like? Yeah. So hopefully this was super helpful for you guys, and I really appreciate you coming on, man. It means a ton to me. And where can people find you, dude? Give yourself a drop.
I do a lot on Instagram, so just call Tattoo on Instagram.
Yeah, you guys won't miss it.
Most of the stuff.
You find them on Higley and the 202 on a build.
That one's down for right now. But.
He's got a bunch of them all over the valley. So,
well, thanks for having me on.
Anytime, brother. Thanks so much, man. All right, guys. If you guys found any value in this, all I ask is we do it for free. Justin's in here for free, dropping his knowledge. I'm dropping it. Just share it with anybody you think that could find some value in this and spread the word. So, as always, guys, get out there, crush it.